Hi golfers, Nick here for Nick Taylor Golf. In today's video, I'm going to help you golfers out there with some key checkpoints in the stack and tilt golf swing. When I get to the top here, those two circles that we saw from the face-on view, you'll see how they're stacked upon each other. I'm not moving like this in the backswing, which you'll see a lot of golfers do. These key checkpoints will help you golfers that are new to stack and tilt or been working on it for a number of years. These are key checkpoints that I've worked on in my swing to improve my golf, and they're key checkpoints that I work on with golfers that I teach and online. These key checkpoints will also answer a lot of the popular questions that are often asked to me on social media. The key checkpoints will cover where the stack and the tilt comes from in the swing and how to see that on video. We're also going to take a look at some key checkpoints at setup, in the backswing, in the downswing, and the finish position. Just before we highlight these key checkpoints, I'm going to show you golfers my swing and show you how I measure the golf swing and how I measure my students. So I have a circle on the head from both angles. I have a line on the right leg, that's from face on, and then from down the line I have a line on the shaft and one through the top of the elbow. That also shows us where the swing plane is. I also have a line on the back of the hip and the knee to measure the extension of the body and the knee flex. So these are some of the key areas that we measure. So when you're videoing your swing, make sure the camera's in line with the hands roughly at chest height, and from face on, roughly again at chest height. So I'm going to play my swing out here so you can see. So in the backswing, you'll see how my head tilts slightly to the left in the face on camera. That helps me turn. When you see from down the line, you'll see how my knee flex is changing, how my shoulders are turning on an angle, how my arm hasn't lifted above my shoulders in the backswing. Then in the downswing, I'm going to keep between those two lines from the side view, where I can progressively move my weight forward and keep my arms pretty straight as I move through to the finish. So I'll play my swing out a few times just so you can see, and you'll see how the consistent things that we look for in the stack and tilt swing. We're looking for a centered head position, we're looking for no shift or no weight moving to the right or swaying away from the target in the backswing, and we're looking for that weight to move through into the finish. So for today's video, I'm going to highlight these key checkpoints that you need to look for when you're working on the stack and tilt golf swing. The first thing we're going to do at setup is try and get the stack correct in the stack and tilt. And the stack is basically the shoulders being stacked over the hips. Now we measure two centers. We measure the center of the shoulders or the sternum and the center of the hips, roughly where the belt buckle is from the face on view. You'll see how these two circles here pretty much in line. They're almost stacked upon each other. There is a slight side tilt, and that's just because my right shoulder is slightly lower than my left because of the way I grip the golf club. Now these two circles, they're almost stacked on top of each other. And if you draw a line straight down, you'll see how that favors slightly to my forward foot. So as I set up, I have those two centers just slightly favoring the left side. I'm also going to put these circles in from the side view, so you'll be able to see that the way I'm bent over. And again, I'm going to reference these key checkpoints in the golf swing, referencing these two centers, the center of the shoulders and the center of the hips. Let's take a look at the backswing first of all. So as I swing back here, you'll see how my head just slightly tilts slightly to the left. However, when I get to the top here, those two circles that we saw from the face on view, you'll see how they're stacked upon each other. I'm not moving like this in the backswing, which I see a lot of golfers do. And I'm certainly not overextending this way that a lot of golfers think that you do in the stack and tilt golf swing. We're trying to stack those two circles. And then from the side view, you'll see how those circles stay in position. That's me turning my shoulders at a right angle to the mount I'm tilted over. So if I get into my forward bend and I have a line, you'll see how as I swing back in my backswing, my shoulders will turn at a 90-degree angle to the mount I'm tilted over in my shoulders. So the key thing here, face on, you see those two circles stacked upon each other, and then side view, again, you'll see those two circles in the same position. I'm not tilting downwards too much, I haven't lifted my head up too much. So that is the tilt in the stack and tilt. My shoulders are tilted roughly 35 degrees to the ground. Another key checkpoint that I want to highlight here while we're looking at the golf swing is the position of my hands when my left arm is parallel to the ground. So when it's parallel to the ground in the backswing and in the downswing. This is a question that gets asked quite a lot. A lot of golfers are led to believe that in the backswing, you're going to swing up and then shallow it out on the way back down. Actually, if you watch my golf swing, you'll see as I turn in the backswing, the shaft here goes through the lower point of my bicep at P3, which is in the backswing. But in the downswing, the shaft goes through the middle part of the bicep. And there's a reason for that, and people think that's coming over the top, but actually I'm just keeping this on plane. So basically all I've done is turned at a different amount. This is a question that gets asked quite a lot. A lot of people are confused, and it's quite difficult to answer this question over a message, so I want to try and explain it in this video. If If I put my left arm at parallel in the backswing at P3 here, my shoulders are roughly turned, say 70 degrees. But in the downswing, I'm starting to open up my shoulders more degrees, and my shoulders in the downswing position are going to be closer to say 45 degrees. So in the backswing, because I'm turned more, my arms or my hand path seems deeper than it would be in the downswing. So there's the key checkpoints to look for the hand path in the backswing and in the downswing. So we've reached P5 in the downswing. Now we're going to take a look at this from both angles. You'll see how from the side view, roughly my hips are pretty much back to where they were at setup, roughly at 0 degrees. My shoulders are still slightly closed to the target. But I'm going to put a circle on my shoulder and my belt buckle here. You'll see as I start down progressively, you'll see how the belt buckle continues to move forward as I rotate. So from the side view, you'll see how I'm rotating, but from the front view, you'll see how this belt buckle progressively moves forward and upward. That shallows out the angle of attack as it comes back down. Keeps the club working on the inside, keeps shallowing out the angle of attack, moves the weight forward, and then by the time I get to roughly right arm parallel, you'll see how the center of my shoulders has stayed stable, but the center of my hips has continued to move forward and upwards. You'll see the ascent of the belt buckle there. That's as I extend my legs into the finish position. You'll also see from this angle from down the line how my shoulders are roughly at the same angle as they were in the backswing. So you can see how I'm now tilted to the right. So throughout the swing, in the backswing, I'm staying stacked with the two centers. I'm tilting to the left in the backswing. Then in the follow through and downswing, I'm now tilting to the right. At impact, I would be tilted around 30 degrees with my shoulders here at the point of impact, and we saw that from the belt buckle moving forward. So as I continue into the finish here, we've reached roughly right arm parallel in the follow through. As I continue to move forward now my shoulder center will move towards the target, my hips will continue to move towards the target, and by the time I finish, my shoulder bend is roughly 30 degrees backwards as I get through to the finish. This is quite a key point because this keeps me in balance, keeps me turning, keeps me tilted on a slight angle with my shoulders as well. Helps me extend to the finish as my legs raise. This helps shallow out the angle of attack and it helps me hit the golf ball with speed. This is kind of like the iconic finish in not just the stack and tilt golf swing, but every player that plays on the PGA Tour. So if you're looking to learn a little bit more about the stack and tilt golf swing, check out this playlist. I've got loads of videos on there discussing it, how to learn the stack and tilt golf swing. I would suggest getting in contact with a stack and tilt instructor if you really want to improve your swing. But that just gives you some really good checkpoints to work on to improve your golf. Thanks for watching, golfers, and I'll see you again next week for another video. The most